Hi guys, I'm back with another video. Today I'll be doing what if issei was an uchiha, and after this what if got a lot of traction, and I liked it because I hate most uchiha. I'm kind of like Toby Rama, like all uchiha are scum, but I love Itachi, Sushiri, sometimes Madara. It's really iffy with Madara, but if Obito, Sasuke, bro, they gotta go. Please get the fuck. Anyways. I'm gonna do a new thing that I'm decided to do with my high school DxD videos. It's called Demon Ranking Arc. I don't know if there was a Demon Ranking Arc yet because I have to go and rewatch the whole series again because I'm making what ifs on it now, so I have to get it freshed up. I tried to take out a cheap way and just go on YouTube and like type um high school DSD recap, but couldn't find any, so have to actually go and watch the show again. Although it's annoying a lot of times because like I hate weak protagonists, bro. Like I'll say that y'all niggas saying there's no story development, but nigga, who's trying to see all this man going through these power ups, bro? And he getting them out of fucking nowhere. I just try to see him throw hands. Like that's all I'm trying to do. Anyways, let's get into the video. So, Issei was in his bed, and his alarm clock was going off. He got up off the bed and take off the alarm clock. He then heard a knock at the door, and then he opened the door to see it was a Zetsu, a female Zetsu maid. So it was basically a Zetsu in a maid outfit, and it was female. She said morning master, and gave him food and breakfast. He gladly took it and left. Ate his breakfast, put on his clothes, put on his put on his clothes for school, his shirt and pants, his shoes, took his car keys, put them in his pocket, grabbed his grass cutter, and I did this in my Asher. Well, I'm planning to do it because anyways, this is called the light grass cutter, and if you watched my video, like my what if Naruto was Madara's grandson, you would see the light grass cutter. So basically, what I'm gonna do is like it negates all immortality, every single one. So if you're immortal, you're gonna die, which is like 100% of the fucking demons. Because we say stated in the anime or the manga, I don't give a fuck, that it was like that once they don't get killed, like straight up like murdered, they can live forever. No, for a large experience of time. I think it was forever or large experience. I can't remember, but she said something like that. So yeah, negates all immortality, all healing abilities. Yeah, that. And if it works especially good with people with negative emotions or negative energy. So yeah, he took that up, put it in his kendo bag, and put on his kendo bag, and went downstairs, and he saw other maids, but he didn't really pay attention to them, and just went into his house, went into his car, and drove to school. He arrived at school, and he got out of his car, and he just closed the door, locked it, and went into class. A day go by with girls annoying him and swooning over him, being fangirls basically. And a few girls tried to ask him out, but he denied them in a very gentle way. Although they treat him like crap, he's not gonna stoop to the level and then be crap to them. He's not gonna stoop to that level, bro. At least with normal girls. So he goes and so he meets Akana and Konako, after at lunch, and they're sitting next to him, and he asks them if they would like to live with him. No, he rephrases that. He if they would like to have his key to enter his house at any time. They were shocked and they blushed at this whole entire conversation, but eventually said yes, both Konako and Akane. He gave them the key because he had it on deck, because that was his plan today. So after school, they went to the occult research club. Research club. This is where they found Risei or Momoshiki or whatever I called him, Momoshiki, and Momoshiki was talking to Risei or Reyes, yeah, Reyes. Yeah, I finally got it right, Reyes. So I was talking to Reyes, and he was like, hey, like he was basically like giving smooth talk, and this is where Issei went up to Issei. Fuck it, I don't care. Went up to her and then told her to stretch her hand. She complied, and Issei then took out the then pawn chess pieces dropped into her hand. She now realized what these were. These pawn pieces were the exact were the pieces that she put into Issei so you wouldn't die. She was surprised. How did he get them out of there? And was he quitting? Issei told her, Don't get me wrong. I'm not quitting. I just don't want to be held that way." Alright, let's explain it better, because I haven't explained that much anyways. As much as it pains me to admit it, the only reason I'm here standing is because of you. I'd be dead because of you, if it wasn't because of you. So, even though I got the chess pieces out of my body, and by those terms, I'm no longer a part of the Gremory family, I'll still be in your little occult or group of sorts. And to be honest, life would be pretty boring without this place. I feel I've gotten too attached to it already. And he rolled his eyes and then went back into a corner, and he put up the release sign, and his clothes turned into the clothes that I talked about last episode. The black shirt, the vest, and so he released so he took out the grass cutter out of the bag and put it on his back. This is where Kiba saw the sword and asked him, "Have you picked up sword?" And he said yeah, and Kiba challenged him. Issei said, "I bet," and they went down to the training grounds, whatever they went before. Issei was in the middle, and Kiba came charging at him with a sword. But, well, they were using wooden katanas. Issei went to him. Issei sliced at him, but Kiba dodged. But then when the katana hit the ground, Issei used the katana to lift himself up into the ground and backflip while still hitting Kiba in the neck. This hurt Kiba, but he was able to move where it didn't incapacitate him. Issei landed on his feet and then put his hand behind his back and started running, so he Naruto'd run towards Kiba. Then he started slashing at Kiba with one hand, and Kiba was blocking. Then Kiba knocked his sword out of Issei's hand, but that's what Issei wanted him to do, and Issei used his foot to spin his sword, and he used the gravity to bring down his sword onto him where Kiba clashed with the sword. Then Issei caught it back into his hand and then pressed down. But Kiba bent his knees and slid under him, and Issei just used from the same trick the first time, used the sword to give him backflip again. Issei ran towards him and just they started clashing, but this is where Issei started to get faster and faster until he decided to start using the body flicker. Note that he's using the sealess body flicker because he also has Shishu's powers. So he was hitting him on the leg. So let me get into it. Kiba saw Issei disappear, and then little did he know it, he felt something on his left cheek. When he touched it, there was blood. Then that part of his cheek started to become purple. Then he felt something on his leg, then his hand, then his gut, then his forehead, then his neck, then the back of his neck, then the nape of his neck, then his basic spine, where his spine is, but it was more gentler than the others. But this made him fall to the ground. And then he found, when his vision finally settled, he saw Issei standing looking down on him. And then you saw these purple spots on his body with blood gushing from them. Everyone was shocked to see the display of power and just speed from Issei. He was using a sword, but he could still draw blood, which was not the easiest thing to do with a wooden katana that wasn't even sharp. So now they asked how they're gonna heal Kiba, but Issei turned one of his eyes into the Rinnegan and opened the King of Hell and kicked him into it. He then spit out, but the guys was worried because they didn't know what the King of Hell was, but it didn't really matter because Issei still helped him. And yeah, so Issei, they went back into the club thing, and this is where a portal opens, and we find, I can't remember her name right now, but Issei's childhood best friend and her partner, and they see them, and these are like angels of the whatever thing, angels, and Issei just in the corner, just looking there with when he saw the portal, he knew the portal was coming in there before, because he kind of always has his Rinnegan on. It's permanently there, but he hides his Rinnegan with the Genjutsu so no one can see it. So people always think he has like normal eyes, but one of his eyes is always normal, but it's really not. It's just the Rinnegan. So he activates. So you activate his Sharingan, and the only thing you can actually see is his red eye and the purple glowing, the two purple, the purple and red glowing eyes looking at them. And when they finally look to the corner, because they were asking about the sword, the Excalibur, whatever thing, the Holy Sword experiment thing, and they looked at Issei. They looked in the corner where Issei was, because Issei was hiding his presence, so they couldn't really see him at that point. When they did see him, they were shooketh, because these eyes were looking at them. There was no man there; it was just eyes. And then he came out of the shadow and said, "Oh, hey, whatever her name is, because I can't remember that shit." And she asks him, "Do I know you?" And then Issei says, "Issei Hildo," or Issei Uchiha, whichever you want to use. And she says, "Issei," and she runs up to Issei and hugs him. Koneko and Akane look at her kind of funny, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. And this is where her friend, like her sidekick, whoever that bitch was whoever she was, came and said to don't compensate yourself with a demon. And Issei says, "Who the fuck you calling a demon? Last time I checked, I'm not a demon anymore." And she says, "No, you're with the Grimm's family, so you are a demon." And Issei says, "I have a demon-like state, but I'm not no demon." And to prove his point even more, he started to pray. and nothing happened to him, no lashback. He was able to pray even though they thought he was a demon. Andreas confirmed that he wasn't a demon because she pulled out the pawns and said, I gave him these pawns, but he forced them out of his body and gave them back to me, which makes him not a demon anymore. And they look at Issei and her his childhood best friend says, you said you had a demon like form. And when Issei said, oh yeah, and started to spread the curse mark around his body. His weird hand like wings, and his skin became gray with a diamond mark in the middle of his face, which is by his nose. His outer eye with the Sharingan became black, with the Sharingan still glowing. And he got his two teeth, his two canine teeth became even sharper, and he looked at them and he kind of smirked. And his hair became a little bit more blue and longer, actually looking like Madara. So it was a funny spectacle to see this demon-like being. But notice his shirt was off because he took it off because of the wings. They just don't fuse with his shirt, so he actually has to take off his shirt. So they saw the definition of his abs and his body, and this is what made Rias, Akane, Konoko, his childhood best friend, and her partner blush. But Issei returned back to his normal form and made sure that it was clear. So after that, they would go. Now, the next day appeared, and Issei still took in his childhood best friend and that girl, and the fight still happened. But I'm not gonna go into that too, because it's not really that part good because Issei is in it and he's the main character, so who gives a fuck about anybody else? So Issei went in. So he went into the clubhouse and the club room, sorry. Went to the club room and everyone was like packing and telling him to start packing. Issei says, packing for what? They said they were going on for the school notice, a club trip, but they were going to the underworld to do demon rankings. And Issei said, demon rankings? Ria started explaining it. This is where our demons get ranked, E to S, E being the lowest, and Momoshiki making a joke saying that Issei would probably get an E rank, and Risei kind of laughed, but Akane and Konoko was stone faced as fuck. Anyways, so he just took out a scroll because he always packs extra clothes, food, and everything he needs if anything was gonna happen like this. So Issei goes and they go to Underworld. This is where they go through the gates and they go in the same arena where both the Phoenix guy and the Phoenix guy and him fought. Now the Lucifer came out and said the first match would be against Issei and the Flame Phoenix guy. And Issei jumped, actually Kamui'd down there, and the guy came up there. Issei looked at him with his impassive look and said, we meet again. And yeah, he started to trash talk Issei, and Issei just said, put your money where your mouth is, nigga. We all about this smoke. I'm about this smoke. You ain't about this smoke. And he got offended, so he put his money where his mouth is. He says, if I win, you have to fall on your sword. And I don't mean like put your sword flat down and fall on it. I mean kill yourself. And if you win by some miracle, you can marry my sister. And you can do with me what you want. Issei obliged at this. He unsheathed his sword, and the sword glowed in immense white light. He then disappeared, and then in the flash of an eye, the man's arm was gone. He tried regenerating it because he could, because he's mortal. I think he was made out of something or something, and it wouldn't work. He started to panic because he started to bleed out. And he was saying, I can't heal it back. Why can't I heal it back? And then Issei started to speak. My sword negates all type of immortality. Anybody with ill intent or malicious energy or magic will fall upon my sword. Issei says, you know what? I'm gonna throw you a bone. Shoot your strongest attack at me. Your strongest one. And if you do that, you get a free blow. I won't do anything. Just here. He smirked at us saying, you're an idiot. And he charged up all the mana in his body, and he says, cruel son. And he shot at him. The stadium erupted in a deep fire. And what they saw next was a ribcage. Yeah, Issei just took him out with a black ribcage. Now you're asking me, like, wait, shouldn't it melt it? The thing is not indestructible, you know? I'm talking, this is as dense as each individual uchiha's Susanoo combined. So the density is the same. So yeah, there's nothing getting past this Susanoo, bro. You're gonna fall upon this Susanoo. Like, whether you like it or not, you're gonna die. And that's no cap, bro. You're going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's just sad, but that's how life is sometimes. It fucks with you. But who cares? Issei looked at him with an impassive look and said, oh well. And this is where he genjutsu'd him and put him under Tsugayomi. And he started torturing for 3 whole years. Not just any type of torturing. Kaneki torturing. Ripped off his toenails, even gouged out his eyes several times, pull out his hair bit by bit. God. Stabbed him over and over, put a centipede in his ear. God, Jesus Christ. I would hate to be that guy. But who cares? So Issei, just when he was finished, kicked him off of the stadium. But at this point, he could do nothing. And this is where his sister ran down and picked him up. And she had yellow hair and a twin tail. I think I already knew his sister. Like, I think everyone knew his sister. Like, yeah, he's like in the canon. Spoilers. Like I think in the novels, that Issei is like, yeah, the Issei has children with her. Yeah, he does. So yeah. So yeah, Issei has a wife now. Well, engaged to be with a wife. And he says, just for your notice, I'm not a man that's gonna be stricken by 1 woman. Or 3 for that fact. I indulge myself. Now, this might seem a little bit arrogant and way too, like, fucked up. But, to be honest, that's what Issei wanted to do. Issei wanted to do in the canon. He wanted to have more than 1 girl. So, it's not really that out of the ordinary for him. But he's just more blunt about how he wants to do it. So, yeah. Fights go on with Konako and N and blah blah blah, but it came up for the individual test. Then the first up was the speed test, where Issei just used Kamui and he gained first place, with Momoshiki becoming second. Then another test happened. Issei gained second place. Then the summoning test happened. Issei summoned Manda, and he summoned the eagle, which he never really got a name for. And he gained first place again, with Momoshiki coming in second. Then it was the other part, demon forms. And this was a battle on battle with the first and second place users from the previous test. Issei activated his curse 2-stage curse mark, and he wasn't going to use like 6 six pass mode because one, he couldn't do it that good, and two, it takes a lot of energy and stamina from him. He could even die if he's not careful. So he's not risking it with him. So this is where he activates. This is where, like, what his name is again? Momoshiki activates Juggernaut. Was it Juggernaut? Juggernaut Drive, and Issei and him go into battle, where Issei completely demolishes him. The the Dragon Emperor has Melissa's energy because it's a dragon, and the dragon always wants to fight the white Dragon Emperor, so it keeps on having repeatedly causing malice and distrust all the freaking time. So yeah, he becomes like that. So he beats the fuck out of the Red Dragon Emperor and kind of fucks with him, bro. And you could see he was fucking with him because it wasn't really that much of a challenge for him. He just kept on beating him time and time again. And the fact is, he can fly, and he can't fly yet because he can fly in the later series. But anyways, so he just keeps on beating him, and it's not even funny. And the last test comes up with the most destructive technique. Now, Issei has two one-ups for this. He tells him that he has two ones that he would like to use because these two cause a lot of damage. He says he's going to use the weaker one first. So he puts his hand in the air and thunder goes into the sky, and then he says Curing. That causes a massive crater into the ground. Then he says Shattered Heaven, and a giant meteor comes from the ground and hit the ground, and everyone is shocked to see this immense power. Then at the end of the tournament approaches, and the people are given their ranks. Issei is S rank number 1, and Konoko is about like B rank, not B rank, like A rank, and Akane is like a weak S rank, like the bottom S rank, no, the mid S rank, and then Issei's Momoshiki is S rank number 2. So yeah, but that's gonna have all of this video, guys. It's been a good time. I know it's kind of short, but yeah, so we're gonna get into some serious things, more canon things in this one. But this part was only to like show off his power and for no one to underestimate him. But that's it.